today, and we just thank you for the blessings of life that you've given us. We thank you for the sunshine that you blessed us with today, and Lord, we just thank you for all the services we provide here in Hart County, our emergency services, Lord, the EMS and our fire departments and our sheriff's department. We pray, Lord, we just pray for their safety, and we thank you, Lord, for the safety that you shed upon us the other day when we had a chase go through town. We just thank you, Lord, that no one was injured in that. And Lord, we just thank you for our soldiers that are fighting for our freedom here in this country and abroad. Lord, we just pray that you'd be with us and help us to make the best decisions for the people in Hart County. In the name we pray. Amen.
Amen. This time I'd like to ask everybody to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I'll call to order the Tuesday, March 12, 2019 meeting of the Hart County Board of Commissioners. I'd like to welcome everyone here. As we get started, the first item of business will be to approve the agenda. Any changes?
We'd like to add real estate to the executive session along with personnel.
Okay.
I make a motion we approve the agenda with them changes.
I have a motion by Commissioner Teasley to approve the agenda as amended, a second by Commissioner Carter. Any more discussion? Public comment? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Next item on the agenda is approved minutes of the previous meetings. You've got the 2/26/2019 regular meeting minutes. We'll do those first. Can I get a motion to approve if there are no changes or corrections?
I make a motion we approve the 2/26/19 regular meeting minutes.
I have a motion by Commissioner Teasley and a second by Commissioner Carter. Any more discussion? Public comment? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. I also have in our packet the open records, open meetings training on 2/26. Can I get a motion that we approve those? Have a motion by Commissioner Carter. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Sayer. Any more discussion? Public comment? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Next item on the agenda is remarks by invited guests, committees, and authorities. We don't have anyone. Item 8, reports by constitutional officers and department heads. Mr. Gordon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just one brief report. There was a tax sale last Tuesday, and as I have often observed, this is the last thing that the county ever wants to do. It's only fair that people pay their share of their taxes, and sometimes when they don't, the ultimate remedy is to sell their property. The county takes no joy in that. We don't like it at all. We'd far prefer that people would pay their fair share of the relatively low taxes which y'all have assessed. When that doesn't happen, they're given plenty of opportunities, many opportunities to pay without penalty, and then ultimately a sale occurs. I hope to have a statistical report for you, but I was not able to get that today. But I will tell you that there were a large number of properties slated for sale, and the biggest majority of those properties were paid prior to the sale. I believe that what ended up at the sale was approximately 15 or 16 properties. And as a general rule, I just want to commend the tax commissioner for his collection efforts. We still have an exceedingly high percentage of collection when you compare it to any other county in the state. That's all I have, unless there are any questions.
Thank you, Walter. Next item on the agenda is County Administrator's Report. Terrell?
I have nothing tonight.
Chairman's report, just a housekeeping matter. Saturday morning will be opening day of Little League for the 2019 season. Just wanted to let everybody know that. A lot of kids are involved in that program. It's a good program, and just want to let everybody know. Moving on into the financial report. Through February, we're 5 months through our fiscal year, and Our requirements for revenues over a 12-month period, we need an average of $1,022,170. Our actual revenue for the month of February came in at $913,941, so slightly under the target. And the reason being, it goes back to the property taxes being due, which is our large revenue driver, and we were significantly over for the previous 3 months. Expenses came in at $887,062 versus a target of $1,022,170. So we had a good month with expenses less than revenues. Our year-to-date reserve fluctuation is $3.3 million in a positive direction. That goes back to the property tax collection, which is our largest revenue stream. Looking at our top 4 revenue streams, the real property target average of $462,000 per month. We came in at $309,415. Again, that goes back to property taxes being due December 20th of last year. And you can see the previous 3 months, November, December, and January, were significantly above that $462,000 target. LOST, which is a sales tax that we use to roll back the millage rate, target's $179,000. We actually collected $193,687. You can see the last 5 months have been significantly above the target, and that's a sign of a booming economy. EMS fees, our third largest revenue stream, target's $91,700. We came in again in the month of February $103,755. A lot of that is due to the carryover from the previous 3 months, October, November, December, where we had some collection delays. And then lastly, the vehicle title fee, target monthly collections there, $56,000. It came in at $82,367, and you can see the previous 5 months have been significantly above the target, meaning there's a lot of people buying cars and selling cars. So, strong economy here in Hart County, and it's reflected by our sales tax and our unemployment rate as well. That's all I've got. Moving on to Commissioners' Reports, District 1.
I took mine up in the executive session, Joey.
District 2.
I want to congratulate the boys and girls basketball team and the coaches on representing us at playoffs. They've done a good job, and appreciate everything that they did. That's all I got.
District 3.
I have nothing, Mr. Chairman.
District 4.
I have nothing.
Okay. Moving on into old business, first item of business, item 12A, Gateway 3 Sewer Bid Project Engineering Bid Award.
This is part of the process of the grant got the engineer and install a lift station at Gateway 3. This is the first step in the process. Bids was advertised for engineering services. Those bids came back in last week, I believe it was week 4 last. And there had to be a committee to evaluate them that was made up of myself, Dwayne Dye, and Pat Gorin. The bids were evaluated on certain points that the ARC requires us to be evaluated on. And based on those evaluations, our recommendation is to go with engineering management company. Yeah, everybody look at it and see.
Okay.
So we just need an official vote from the board to make.
So moving, sir.
Have a motion by Commissioner Oglesby
I'll second it.
to award bid to Engineering Management Incorporated, and a second by Commissioner Sayer. Any more discussion?
Yeah, who oversees this project?
In this particular case, we decided amongst the three of us that the Water Authority is going to oversee it, since they're going to end up owning it when it's completed. And that was one of the reasons we choose the EMI, because Pat's got a long experience dealing with them, and they have vast experience in ARC grant projects. But Pat will be the primary person overseeing it, because it will belong to the Water Authority. So.
Okay. Any other questions? Public comment? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Next item on the agenda is Senior Center Budget Amendment as part of the passage of Senate Bill 406 and signed into law by the governor of last year. Anybody involved in Meals on Wheels as far as a client has to now be fingerprinted and have a criminal history ran. In order to comply with that, there's going to be a cost of about $50 per person, and we need to look at doing a budget amendment of $2,000 to cover this, to cover 35 to 40 employees.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Sayer, and a second by Commissioner Teasley. Any more discussion?
Yeah, I got a question. If anybody's able to drive, is their driver's license, when they have a driver's license, is their fingerprint not on file with the state already?
No.
I thought Georgia required you to have a fingerprint when you got driver's.
Georgia may be, but this can go through the federal database, the FBI database. We've always done GCI background on everybody, and we do those for no cost through the sheriff's office. This has got to go through the AFA system, and there's a $48.90 charge per person for the federal background check. And it basically boils down to an unfunded state mandate like most everything else does for us.
Okay, anything else? Have a motion by Commissioner Sayer and a second by Commissioner Teasley to approve this. Any public comment? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Moving into new business, first item under new business will be credit for experience in the sheriff's office. You got a memo from Terrell, the sheriff's requesting to give a deputy credit for 8 years of experience. And our typical handling of this is we grant the request in increments of 2 years and make it retroactive to the hire date. So could I get a motion to approve? Have a motion by Commissioner Carter, second by Commissioner Teasley. Any more discussion? Public comment? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously.
I did.
Next item on the agenda is requests to purchase a dump bed for the road department. This will be a 24-foot flatbed tri-stage cylinder dump for an existing cabin chassis that the road department already has.
What it is it's a long flatbed dump. We have one. And with the amount of trees and limbs and pipes and stuff we're moving around, Ronnie thinks we need another heavier dump on it. We had two options to get it we could find. One was in Alabama and one was down here in Elkton. And Ed and Ronnie both think that the Elberton manufacturer would be our best bet. So a couple of $100 higher. It's a 4-foot longer bed. It's a couple of $100 higher. We'd spend probably a couple of $1,000 hauling that chassis to Alabama twice on a flatbed and the bed put on it. So our recommendations go with the company in Elberton.
Okay. I get a motion that we approve this request to purchase this bed from Peach State Truck Equipment. I have a motion by Commissioner Carter. Is there a second?
Also.
Second by Commissioner Sayer. The cost of this will be around $13,600, and this purchase would come out of SPLOST. Any more discussion?
I do have a question to make sure this estimate here that you're going with, Peach State, it does not say on the thing that it's installed.
That's installed. That's completed. That's dropping the chassis off and picking it back up when they complete with it.
It says mounted on truck.
Okay, maybe I missed it. Yeah, mounted on truck, I missed it.
Okay. Any more discussion? Public comment? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Next item on the agenda is FY19 LMIG safety grant. We've been notified we got some grant money to do some road striping. Terrell, if you want to pick up with this.
Yes, like I said, we was notified by DOT last week that they finishing out their year in money, and they had about $100,000 left over that we could use for safety grants, and that primarily striping. You can't do guardrails with it. Most everybody uses it for striping. It's a 70-30 match, just like the other LMIG money. We'll get $70,000 from DOT, and we'll have to put $30,000 of our own out of SPLOST. And I got Ronnie to go out and make us a list of roads that in his opinion needed to be striped, and have them included there. That's about 38 miles worth. We should have somewhere, depending on how many stripes we use, somewhere between 35 and 45, 50 miles of road stripe. So we have room to add more roads onto this list or change these around. And we can make the final list at the next meeting. We just need to make that final at that meeting so I can get it turned in before the end of the month.
The two things I'd say here, one, I think we need to focus on the center lines as far as striping. And number two, we need anything we're going to chip seal or do any patching on, we don't want to stripe it and then turn around and go.
Right. And that's the reason I put the paving list roads up above there, so we will be sure not to forget those, because Ronnie did have one or two of them on his list, so I took them off.
Yeah, I mean, if someone's road this list, then I don't think it's not even wide enough to stripe. So we need to look at these, and then you got to know something by the end of the month. Is that right?
I got to have the paperwork back in his hand before the end of this month.
So everybody needs to look at this list and work with the county administrator to get this list of roads, and then we'll take action at our next meeting. If everybody's okay with that. So we won't take any action tonight, but next meeting we'll discuss that. Okay, moving on to item 13D, acceptance of Vassar Lane as a county road.
I'm gonna make a motion, we approve that request to make Vassar Lane a county road.
This is going to be off of Little Powder Bag. It'll be a dirt road, be maintained as a dirt road. It's an 8 mile long.
It'll be maintained as a dirt road.
How long is it?
Quarter
Yes,
mile,
sir.
0.15.
0.125.
I'll second.
Does that go all the way to the end?
Yes, that goes to the last house that's in.
How many houses on the road?
I believe there's 5 properties on there.
5 properties, no houses.
Yeah, there's houses. There's house 1, 2, 3, 4 houses. 5 properties on the right-hand side and 1 on the left. Actually, 6 properties.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner
Second.
Teasley, a second by Commissioner Sayer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he beat you to it. Any more discussion? Public comment? Not all in favor, raise your right hand.
Holla yabba dabba do, Sal, you beat me.
Yabba dabba do.
The next item on the agenda is a trauma grant with matching funds for purchase of a Hearst combo extrication tool. This will be for Jaws of Life for EMS. According to what Terrell's memo said, that the grant will cover 70 to 75% of the cost, and actual cost and the accessories is going to run somewhere in the $12,600 range.
Correct. And I went back and pulled those records from the FY18 dollars, and we actually brought in last year from this grant $12,535. So my initial figures in my memo was I had missed a payment. So we should pull in closer to 90% of it.
That's a move.
Okay. I have a motion by Commissioner Oglesby, a second by Commissioner Carter to approve. Any more discussion? Public comment? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Next item on the agenda is Recreation Department lawnmower replacement.
Yes, sir. We had put off last year replacing one of the riding mowers, and we need one with a bagger on it to help keep the courthouse lawn looking better than some of the nice heater lawns around the rec center. So we put out for state contract prices on John Deere, Exmark, and Kubota, all the same size, same cut, same capacity baggers. John Deere came in at its lowest price at $11,087.23. Ed evaluated that shop with the closest to the parts, dealership to where we can get parts and have a warranty work on it. And the price, they recommend going to John Deere.
Same lawnmower we bought for the tent center.
No, they're still running it. That's Kubota.
So I thought that lawnmower was going to use for the courthouse.
That lawnmower has been well used over the years. We'll probably be pulling the Exmark that they've got at the rec center offline because it's in pretty good shape. But the Kubota that the crews, the Worth crews using is still running.
I'll make a
It does
motion
not
to
have a
go
bagger.
recommendation, John Deere.
Second.
And it's going to be paid out of SPLOST
Correct, out of
funds.
Recreation Department SPOS, correct.
Have a motion by Commissioner Sayer, a second by Commissioner Carter. Any more discussion? Public comment? Not all in favor, raise your right hand.
I got a question,
Motion
but it
carried
ain't
unanimously.
gonna affect this, but some of these, in South Carolina, are they on the Georgia purchasing?
Correct. Yeah, they're quoted under they just have to be the ones, the same, the price is the same, whatever dealer you get them. The price comes from the manufacturer.
Next item on the agenda is the Water Authority Board appointment. Call, I guess it's been about a year ago. We had an opening. This is a partial term. Mr. Hugh Holland has contacted me and announced that, or told me that he's going to have to be resigning from the Water Authority, and there's going to be an opening there for a partial term. And since this is something new, it wasn't caught. We didn't pick it up in our normal advertising, so I think we should advertise this position because this is a critical position. I'll make a motion that we advertise this opening in Hartwell for 2 weeks like we've done in the past.
So moved.
So have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Public comment? If not, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Next item on the agenda is beer and wine violation by one of our local stores. This is not the first time this particular location has been involved in an underage sting operation. However, there is, my understanding, a different owner now.
I believe that is correct, Mr. Chairman. There was a Department of Revenue operation that basically sent an undercover operator in, and they were successful at purchasing beer at age of less than 21. So it's a status offense. The employee who was responsible for it was not the store owner, but the employee who was responsible did enter a plea of guilty on February the 15th in magistrate court and waived their rights to a jury trial. What you have done in the past typically is to levy a suspension on the location. As the chairman said, this is a location that's not had a good past, not had a good history, but it is currently under new management, and the management that's there now has not had a previous violation. In the past, I believe that you have considered levying a 30-day suspension. Whatever you choose to do, the store owner or license holder will be notified. They will then have an opportunity to request a hearing. They'll have, I think it's 15 days to request a hearing before the Board of Commissioners, and then if they do so, then we'll have a hearing. The hearing will be relatively short because it will be the violations proved by the guilty plea.
I got a question. This store is one of the chain of stores with the same name.
Different owners.
Has each store got a different owner?
I believe so.
Does anybody ever ask these people why they do this? I mean, is it sort of making a mistake, or do they do it intentionally? Or how
I don't think any of them really do it intentionally. They don't tell their folks to get out there and sell to minors. But some of these stores offer very rigorous training about how to examine an ID, what kinds of IDs are acceptable, how to look at the telltale marks of a false ID, because false IDs are there are quite a lot of them, and so adequate training can help an employee do the right thing. Now, I don't know as to this one. I have no idea. We've had them before where There's one that I specifically remember where there was some leniency because it was the employees, it was the store's first time, it was the employee's first time, and the employee had only been there for like 2 days or something like that. So it really does depend on what kind of training the employer gives. That's not something that we do for them, that's something that they do, but it's not a requirement. So therefore, some of them don't. And it's something that every single one of them ought to do at least once a year, I think, or at least with every new employee. They need to put the fear of God in them.
Well, there were some things that the owner said he put in place, the previous owner, after his second issue. My question is, why did that not transfer? And I know I'm not going to get an answer to that, but I think what we all do is just suspend his license indefinitely until we have this hearing, and then we go from there.
Whatever that suits both.
Or if they want to do it for 30 days or whatever, but I mean, this will be the third offense and probably the last.
Is this the third offense, the same store but not the same owner?
Same store,
Not-
different owner.
Yeah, different owners.
Then the benefit of the doubt is we need to think about the new owner. I think we ought to suspend it for 30 days for hearing. Then after 30 days, if he can't prove his point, then suspend it indefinitely.
Well, they've already said they was guilty. There's really no question.
Well, I don't know that the owner has weighed in on it, the license holder. The employee has pled guilty.
And the owner is responsible for the employee's actions.
Yes,
That's correct.
So,
Yeah, the owner has not committed a criminal act like the employee did, but the owner is the one who holds the license, and the license is a privilege. It's not a right, it's a privilege, and it's a privilege that can be suspended or withdrawn.
Let me ask the question, if you don't mind. Y'all answer the question. I don't even know if it would be legal to do this. But I know, I've been thinking about these beer and wine orders for a long time. And I think that the person that actually works in that store should be required to have some kind of certificate that they know the laws. We have to produce that. I don't know that we can do that tonight. And they read the book, they understand the law, state law, county orders, and everything, and they sign off on it. And if they're caught doing that after the second or third time, then they can no longer work in that environment. And that will take some of the burden off the stores. And we also should require the store owners that they have training and have set written policies. That, that's against their rules, but they probably do have, but we just don't know.
What I am aware of that is available, and it probably would be best to use something like this because it would be standardized. There is an online course that servers are required to take, particularly those who are serving by the drink. But this would be very much the same. I'm thinking that it costs $40 or $50. I don't really remember who offers it. I think it's a consortium of insurance companies that set it up. And you go through that process, you go through the training. It doesn't take terribly long, but you go through the training. You then take a test. And if you listen to any of the training, you're going to pass the test. It's not a crusher. And then you are provided with a certificate suitable for framing that you have passed that course. And that's something, we don't require a license holder to do that, but I think you've probably got a pretty good idea there, Commissioner, because this kind of thing is available. Now, some people are going to gripe because it costs $40 or $50 to do this. And it would seem to me that really I don't wish any store owner, I don't wish to burden any of them, but I would think that the store owner ought to provide that class, rather than make the employee do it. But that's their decision.
It'd be a lot cheaper than losing 30 days or 60 days of revenue off of beer and wine. I know
Yes.
they don't make a lot off of it.
And I think that the way that works is that I don't think that it requires any continuing recertification. I think it's a one-time thing.
Well, we had this before. I was thinking we suspended the license more than 30 days.
I know we had some a while, well, last year.
The ordinance says 30 days for first offense.
That's what we did
60
then.
days for the second
That's what we
offense,
did.
90 days for the third offense.
So we,
And this would actually be the third offense for that store or the fourth.
This is a different store
Yeah,
owner.
you've got to classify it.
Are we going to hold the
first
store
offense.
liable or the store owner? I mean,
Yeah,
And I'm not saying we need to hold them liable.
I think you'd have to hold license owner.
you
Right.
do. You do. You can't hold the current license holder responsible for what a
we
previous
need to
license
suspend
holder
for
did.
30 days.
And we
Not
need to
what
spend
I'm
them for 30
suggesting,
days,
I was
and that's
just
what the
making a
ordinance
point.
says.
Yeah. I get a motion that we suspend the beer and wine license for this location for 30 days.
Move.
Have a motion by Commissioner Oglesby.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Carter. Any more discussion? This will go into effect tomorrow.
Mr. Chairman, might I make a suggestion?
Yep.
Since the topic has come up, in addition to the 30 days, we want to require that he have his employees certified in the manner we just discussed.
I think that's something, if he wants to due process, we should address then. The
Very
reason I say that is because we're following our ordinance, and this is what our ordinance calls for.
That is correct.
So, if everybody's okay with that. Yeah.
He could present it to him as a matter of information, though, as a
Yeah, As
suggestion.
a recommendation.
Yeah.
All right.
But I think-
This won't take effect till I can notify him, correct?
Right.
That's right.
So, all right, I have a motion and a second that we suspend the beer and wine license for 30 days. And if he wants to go through the training, that's his prerogative. It could be a recommendation. Any more discussion? Public comment? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Next item on the agenda is public comment. If anybody would like to come and address the board, if you'll come to the podium, state your name. Nobody for public comment? Can I get a motion that we go into executive session, personnel and real estate?
I'll make a motion, we go into session personnel real estate.
Have a motion by Commissioner Sayer, second by Commissioner Teasley. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously.
Sure, Joe. Good meeting.